Dozens of Democrats are expected to boycott the State of the Union address tonight, where Donald Trump will discuss his plans, his policies, his agenda, and where we are at so far. Of course, for the president, this is his opportunity to say everything is great, especially considering we have just entered a midterm year. But Democrats, of course, are not going to entertain sanity. I hate to say it, but it's true. CNN calls it a clown car for a reason. Not just the fact that there's tons of Democrats all piling onto each other, but that the policies they propose and the actions they take don't speak well to moderate Americans, and the polling shows it. 2-1. Moderates favor the Republican Party because Democrats just will not embrace what Gavin Newsom calls sanity. Indeed. Gavin Newsom recently came out and said Democrats need to entertain and espouse real moderate values and issues the American people care about. Unfortunately for them, the Democratic base is consisting of activists, and the comments online show it, saying stop trying to pander to regular Americans and go for the identity politics. To which I respond, yes, please. I mean, it's kind of off the subject, but does still matter. When you take a look at Starfleet Academy, the new show on Paramount Plus, and its abysmal viewership where they introduce a gay non-binary character, and then you take a look at Landman, their top show, they've got 8 times the viewership on the anti-woke show because regular Americans just want to see stories about regular America. Tonight, Donald Trump will address the nation, and he's likely going to say fantastic things, but liberals are calling for more to boycott it. And many more liberal activists are saying outright that they will. So let me be blunt. It's a cult. Yeah, I know they call MAGA a cult, but that doesn't account for the coalition of some libertarians and moderates and former liberals and Democrats who agree with and vote for Trump. I call it a cult because I assure you this. When Joe Biden gave his State of the Union addresses, multiple speeches, we covered all of them. And moderates and conservatives watched to hear what Joe Biden had to say. Today, Democrats are told, plug your ears, don't listen to the lies of the orange man, because they cannot fathom a reality where people might actually hear the arguments and desires of the other side. And for all of us who are in the moderate to conservative position, we know this. Liberals often have no idea what it is that moderates and conservatives are actually talking about. They believe things that aren't true while screaming in your face you believe fake news. Now, they can hyper-focus on some of the more culty elements of MAGA, and that's fair. For the most part, the MAGA coalition includes people who are still critical of Trump. And I love this, as I have been constantly calling for the Epstein files to be released, they are now claiming in liberal media, Tim Pool turns on Trump. Yeah, I've been critical of Trump literally the whole time. But see, they don't understand this because to them, if you vote for Trump, you're in a cult, despite the fact that there are many people very, very critical of Trump. Well, the argument they make as to why it's a cult is because cult of personality. Everyone swarms around the orange man. No, I'm more interested in the policy positions, and I think Democrats are pandering to ignorant masses. Indeed. Well, my friends, we are going to jump into the news for you and show you exactly what's going on. So smash that like button. Share this video with every person you know. If you really do like the work that I do here, sharing this video is the best way to help. If everybody who watched right now took that URL and posted it everywhere, this would be the biggest news program on earth. And wouldn't that be fantastic? I don't know, unless you hate me or whatever, which I don't understand why you're here, but welcome. Please enjoy the show. We got this from CBS News. Dozens of Democrats to boycott Trump's State of the Union address. They say last year, Democratic Rep Al Green of Texas was escorted from the chamber after he stood and shouted in protest during Mr. Trump's address to a joint session of Congress. Other Democrats protested by holding up signs and wearing statements on their clothing or walking out of the chamber altogether. But this year, Democrats appeared keen on taking a different approach. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, a New York Democrat, presented the options for Democrats at a news conference last week. Quote, the two options that are in front of us in our House is to either attend with silent defiance or to not attend and send a message to Donald Trump in that fashion. Jeffries said, while pointing to opportunities for participation in alternate programming around the Capitol. A number of Democrats are set to attend counter-programming Tuesday on the National Mall dubbed the People's State of the Union. Senators Ed Markey of Massachusetts, Jeff Merkley of Oregon, Chris Murphy of Connecticut, Tina Smith of Minnesota, Chris Van Hollen of Maryland are set to attend, along with Reps Pramila Jayapal of Washington, Becca Balint of Vermont, and Greg Kasar of Texas. If Trump will not honor the American people, then the people should turn off his remarks and turn toward each other, towards their neighbors, their communities, and the real power of this country. Another counter-programming event is taking place at the National Press Club earlier in the night called the State of the Swamp. Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon is set to attend, along with Rep. Seth Moulton of Massachusetts, Dan Goldman of New York, and Eugene Vindman of Virginia, among others. Others are expected to boycott the speech without plans for any counter-programming. The spokesperson for Rep. AOC of New York said she will not be attending Mr. Trump's State of the Union address. Senator Ruben Gallego, and Arizona Democrats said in a video posted on social media that he will not attend the State of the Union either, stressing that there's more productive things I could be doing with my time than just sitting there for 2 hours and clapping on cue. He said he plans to spend the time working for Arizona. Now I'm just going to interject and say this. Thank you. I mean, imagine what it's going to be like. Donald Trump gets up there and he says, we need, in this country, more immigration enforcement. Everybody claps and cheers. No boos, no hisses, no protests. I'd actually advise the Democrats attend and not clap for certain things and clap for certain things. But here's what will happen in their absence. Because they don't really think these things through, to be honest. The average American who doesn't really pay all that much attention to these politics, what are they going to do? They're going to watch the show, and they are going to see when Trump says something, fanfare and applause. Do you guys understand laugh tracks? Yeah, I can't stand a laugh track. Laugh tracks exist because some people don't know when the joke is happening. And more importantly, laugh tracks exist to trick stupid people into thinking something is funny. Yeah, I'm not a fan of laugh tracks. So if you've ever seen those viral videos where it's like Big Bang Theory with no laugh track, Sheldon walks in and goes, "You're making a smoothie." And that's it, just dead air. And you're wondering what was supposed to be funny about that. Hey, but people really love it when the audience just claps and cheers over a statement and a pause. You see, that's the point. Not to disparage the American people, but come on. Some people are just told when to be entertained, and they are. The point is this. There will be a faction of individuals watching the State of the Union, and Trump will say something, and people will clap. Much like a laugh track, a lot of people are going to say, I guess this is what people like. The important thing to understand is there are many people, not everybody, but many people, who are persuaded by the crowd. They want to fit in, and they vote for the winners. That's why you often see all these polls coming out saying Trump can't win when he was running a year or so ago and in 2016. The argument was there is at least enough people who will vote for who they think the winner is because they can be on the winning team, that all they have to do is tell the American people Trump can't win, and they're going to vote for Hillary Clinton or for Kamala Harris. The point is this. If Democrats choose to boycott this event, and it appears they absolutely are, there will be many people who will watch Trump go unchallenged, and they will just believe, I guess this is what the American people love because everyone is clapping. Now, Robert Reich says, why I'm not watching the State of the Union, and you shouldn't either. And he gives us an explanation as to why he thinks it is prudent for liberals and Democrats to not listen to what their political opposition has to say. Now, I think it's the dumbest thing in the world. Steve Bannon often talks about how he only watches MS Now, because he wants to know what his political opponents are thinking. Now, again, you don't got to like Steve Bannon, but his point is clear. I want to know what you're saying, why you're saying it, what you believe, so I know how to engage with you to counter you. But if you're going to bury your head in the sand and ignore what's being said, then how are you supposed to effectively argue against a political faction when you don't know what the argument is? Sure. Take it away, Robert. He says, I'm not going to watch the State of the Union address on Tuesday night. I urge you not to either. I hope Nielsen, whoever makes such estimates these days, will find that far fewer Americans watched Donald Trump's State of the Union than have watched any other State of the Union in recent memory. It will drive Trump crazy. Oh, geez, these people are just incorrigible. But there are plenty of reasons for not watching other than driving Trump crazy. I don't care about driving anyone crazy. I don't care about driving Adam Schiff crazy or Robert Reich crazy. I care about whether or not young people in this country have an opportunity to buy a house, get a job, pay for healthcare, and eat food. But these people are driven by pure hatred of a single guy. Calm down, brother. You can watch the State of the Union. Who cares what Trump thinks? Well, who cares what he thinks in terms of his viewership? But certainly we should care what he thinks in terms of policy affecting this country. He says, first, he doesn't deserve our attention. He's abused and defiled the American presidency even worse than he did in his first term. How so? He says, he's blatantly usurped the powers of Congress. He has overtly used the DOJ to seek to punish people he considers his enemies and pardon people loyal to him. He has willfully rejected the rule of law, broken treaties, literally destroyed part of the White House, thumbed his nose at our allies, including our closest and heretofore loyal neighbors, and utterly failed his constitutional duty to take care of the laws and faithfully that our laws are faithfully executed. Let's break this one down. Blatantly usurping the powers of Congress is a dramatic exaggeration, but hey, if your argument is about the use of tariffs, there are numerous laws by which Trump has made an argument that he's allowed to do it. The Supreme Court came out and said, no, that is a power of Congress. If you want to criticize Trump for that, that was always allowed. But to call it a blatant usurping of the powers of Congress, I need only say, when was the last time we declared war? Indeed, not since World War II. So you want to talk about all of the invasions since then, and you want to talk about what has become normalized in the executive branch, for which I and many of us have been critical for our whole lives. It would be that Congress is inept and powerless. So by all means, criticize Trump, but throw him in the basket with literally every other president on that in that capacity. Using the DOJ to punish people he considers his enemies. They literally arrested Trump's lawyers. I mean, come on. You know, it's certainly I can criticize Trump for going after Schiff, Letitia James on mortgage fraud. But if they committed mortgage fraud, they committed mortgage fraud. I guess it'll be an issue for a grand jury, which I think they are. I'm not sure where exactly at with that. Come on, Democrats literally did this. They arrested Trump's lawyers for simply providing legal representation. So spare me your fake outrage. He has willfully rejected the rule of law. What does that even mean? Broken treaties. What are you talking about? Literally destroyed part of the White House. Remodeling happens all the time. Thumbing his nose at our allies and utterly failed his constitutional duty. Now, thumbing his nose at our allies, fine. You're critical of the actions Trump has taken against our EU partners because they're not paying certain bills or tariffs or whatever. That's fine. But stop framing it like Trump is lighting everything on fire and just frame it for what it is, a policy disagreement. I'm sick of all the hyper-inflammatory nonsense, okay? He continues, he lies like most people breathe. He's a fraud and a traitor. Okay, anyway, we get the point. Okay, we get the point. You don't want people to watch what Donald Trump has to say. And I'll tell you this, the real reason is because that's how you maintain a cult. If Trump comes out and says something reasonable, they won't hear it. They'll simply turn on Jen Psaki later, who's going to say, Donald Trump called for beating children. And they go, oh, why would he say that? Take, for instance, Donald Trump's phone call with the U.S. men's hockey team, where he said, I want you guys to come to the White House, but I got to tell you, we got to invite the women's team too. And they all laugh. And he says, I think I'd be impeached if I didn't. And it was a joke. He wanted to invite both teams. He's ribbing on the boys. So what did the media say? Trump complains that he has to invite the women. No, he was literally just making a joke like, no, it's not just about you guys. And it was the minorest of jokes. And then what happened? The U.S. women's team said, we can't make it. Sorry, but thanks anyway. We've got this from Fox News. The Democrats ditching the State of the Union. Oh boy, look how many we've got. We got a hefty amount of individuals who are refusing to attend. I think it looks like we got about 17 listed right here. Am I wrong? Looks like 17. Indeed. Adam Schiff declares that he is skipping Trump's State of the Union address. Let's, I don't know that I actually want to play this, what this guy has to say. Let's, but you deserve to hear him, I guess. And actually, I think I have to, is it muted? It is. And I got to unmute it again.
As the Justice Department, Donald Trump is violating the law and Constitution. He is ignoring court orders. He has weaponized the Justice Department to go after his enemies. He is letting loose ICE troops in our streets that are getting people killed. I will not be attending the State of the Union. I've never missed one. I have always gone both to inaugurations and to States of the Union, but we cannot treat this as normal. This is not business as usual. I will not give him the audience he craves for the lies that he tells. I'll be outside the Capitol with Midas touch and move on for the people's State of the Union, 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday.
Oh, 8 p.m., you say? Well, maybe we'll jump in and take a look live on Timcast IRL to see what y'all have to say, because we're not in the same degree of developmentally disabled, or lying, I guess. I'm very much interested in exactly what these people are going to say about Donald Trump, and I will challenge them when I feel that they are wrong or lying. And I'll say the same thing of Donald Trump. Donald Trump's come out and repeatedly said, we have conquered affordability. No, you haven't. I go to the grocery store, people are freaking out. Donald Trump, of course, is going to say that it's the midterm year, and he wants people to believe everything is A-OK. But people go to grocery stores, brother. So certainly Trump has done well in some areas, but you can't just approach it like we declare victory. Here we go. Here are the libs. Tammy Duckworth saying, I won't be attending the State of the Union. I'm not interested in hearing another campaign rally full of lies. Thank you, Senator Duckworth. Oh, me, oh, my, oh. Well, NBC News reports that Trump is heading into the State of the Union facing a diminished voter trust on the economy. Americans' trust in the president's handling of the economy has tumbled, depriving him of a valuable political asset he has held for a decade. Indeed, I agree. Sorry, guys. There are a lot of people that are going to come out and say, no, it's better than ever. Trump's doing great. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't live in a very expensive area. We moved to West Virginia. No offense to West Virginia, but largely because it's more affordable. The money that we have can go a lot further in building the things we want to build with cheaper land and cheaper cost of living. Though, to be fair, it is getting expensive because nobody wants to live in D.C. or Virginia and they're moving here. Driving costs up. But that being said, I go to the grocery store, man. It's expensive, and it's only gotten worse. I know people say, but Tim, the cost of eggs are down. Well, to be fair, that's the one thing I don't know the price of, because I have a chicken coop and we have too many eggs already because chickens lay them for us for free. But that being said, when I go and I buy the typical snacks we do, understand this, guys. I'm not somebody who goes out and generally does the family grocery shopping, but I do go periodically. Usually the missus will go and she'll pick up the things that we need. With tremendous respect, I'm appreciative that she does it. However, we have supply orders for the office, for the staff. And so I got to look at the cost of buying drinks and buying sodas. Well, we don't drink soda. We drink Spindrift, it's carbonated water, a little bit of fruit juice in it. Much better. And I see that the cost of these things are brutal. And I actually wonder at what point we're going to have to say, guys, we're going to have to forego the luxuries and maybe just drink water. But we try to make sure people are comfortable, happy, and, we do our best. We like the little bit of luxury you might get with drinking a delicious grapefruit Spindrift. I know you could just drink the natural water that we have coming out of the well, but we like nice things sometimes. It's not like you're drinking Louis XIII at $250 an ounce. Okay, the point is this. Prices are up, and we are facing this. So the question is, how will Trump adequately address this? They say an AP NORC poll this month found that just 39% of Trump approve of Trump's handling of the economy, while 59% disapprove. It's the latest measurement, but it's no outlier, with other surveys showing Trump's economic approval rating underwater. Over the last year, Trump has seen his ratings on the issue sink. That's a marked contrast from his first term, when he largely broke even or enjoyed broad approval on the economy. Even in the COVID downturn, according to the same AP NORC poll. The public perception that Trump was good for the economy has been a vital political asset dating to his first campaign. Trump's business experience and claims of understanding the economy appealed to some voters who disapproved of him over other matters. Indeed, my friends, Trump needs to be winning on the economy, and that's why he keeps saying he is. Now, I think it's fair to say certain elements of the economy are doing better, and I like that Trump is saying some things. Mortgage rates are going down. Good. We need people to be able to buy homes. But if Trump can't figure it out and get the feeling and the vibes, he's not going to win this one. And the midterms are going to be pretty dang bad. I mean, look, Democrats are never going to be better on the economy. That's a fact. They will spend to oblivion. But Trump needs to be able to prove a little bit. The one thing I can say Trump has going for him, to be completely honest, is that he doesn't necessarily need to be good on the economy. He just needs to be less bad than Democrats. And that's the truth. And Democrats haven't proved nothing. Okay, you vote for a Democrat, you know it's going to get worse. So I don't know that that's the right idea. We all remember what it was like under Biden. Oh boy, was that a mistake. Now from Punchbowl, they say, Dems try a new strategy for Trump's State of the Union. In 2025, a number of Democrats showed up to protest. This time, they're saying we ain't gonna be showing up. Now, again, I highlight this to show they got all these quotes popping up and they're explaining what they're doing. I'm not really interested. The only one that actually seems to make sense is John Fetterman, who has begged Democrats not to be lunatics. We've got this clip from Fox News.
President Trump is set to hold his State of the Union this week amid reports that a handful of Democrat lawmakers plan on skipping the speech. But Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman is hoping his colleagues will keep things respectful.
I do hope all the other Democrats that choose to come, that we don't do the same kinds of things that happened at the last year. I mean, it was really undignified. And just the thing, no, I don't care who the president is. Don't yell and disrupt that. It's like you really should respect the office.
It's amazing. And everybody brings it up, kind of offending, or meant to offend Fetterman a little bit. They say, why is it that the only sane Democrat is the one who suffered a serious brain injury? I got to be honest. I'm a big fan of Fetterman. I know he doesn't vote the way I like him to vote. He votes with Democrats, not on everything. He is much more of a moderate, and he needs to be where the Democratic Party is. Sorry, that's reality. Okay. He speaks out. He speaks nice. He is rational. He votes bad, but that was always allowed. You don't have to vote for everything I want. Here's what I would love to see. You know, I say this of Bill Maher. I disagree with Bill Maher on a lot of things, but I think he's a good dude. I think he's a rational dude. I think he means well, and I think he'll be honest about hard truths. We disagree on certain policies. He certainly doesn't like Donald Trump. But you know what? If Bill Maher's view and structure of how the Democratic Party should operate was the way they actually did, they would be crushing elections, and I wouldn't be all that mad about it. It'd be more like the 90s, like, the Democrats won again. Well, you know, it is what it is. Let's go watch football. But what do we have now? Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the best of the best. Newsom pushes the Democratic Party to be more culturally normal if they want to win. Oh, yeah. Let's check out this video clip. I don't know what FOMOI is or whatever that is, but this is a post that was viral on Reddit. Listen to this.
No doubt that the Democratic Party needs to be, dare I say, more culturally normal. I believe that. Less prone to spending disproportionate amount of time on pronouns, identity, politics. More focused on tabletop issues, things that really matter, the stacking of stress in terms of electricity bills and child care costs and health care and obviously housing costs, and how easily we get trapped in that, how I've fallen prey to that. I mean, here I was, way out front on marriage equality. So I understand this from both on the receiving end of this and on the...
And you know what? I agree with Governor Newsom. I don't like the guy. I think he's very griftery. He's willing to say whatever he has to say to try and pander to an audience, but he finds himself split. Most people don't like weird woke stuff. You want to win an election, you need most people. The problem is too many Democrats do, and if you lose them, you lose the election. The response is beautiful. Here's the top comment. SpongeBob looking depressed and walking on the tops of his feet, like his feet are flipped over or whatever. How many more times is the DNC going to try the same strategy? Do they even want to win elections? Democratic candidates, even after years of being told centrism doesn't work, but it might work for us, certainly worked for Donald Trump. And the response they always give is, but Trump is far right. Wrong. Trump was you know what? I'm gonna bring this up. Trump moderate, Vox.com. I'm doing it. I'm going to bring it up. August 15th, 2015, Donald Trump is the perfect moderate by Ezra Klein, August 15th, 2015. And there is a little bit of sarcasm, fine, but the point is this. I was a Bernie guy, and Bernie was a lefty. And you want to know why I was a Bernie guy? First and foremost, I respected his consistency. You would see him speak in the 90s and the 2000s and be like, he's been talking the same game for a long time. And I respect it because all these other politicians, they flip-flop, they go back and forth. Bernie Sanders then said, open borders are a Koch brothers proposal. They bring in cheap labor. And I said, I like this guy. We don't want no open borders. Okay. He said, we're going to fight for the working class and the unions, make sure the working class can eat, have a family. And I said, you know what? This is so much better than crackpot Hillary Clinton and uniparty's warmongering garbage. I'd like to see this guy win. Well, guess what? He didn't. In the primary, superdelegates came out and said, nah, no Bernie Sanders. And to be fair, I'm highly critical of Bernie these days. I think he's definitely just played the game and he enjoys his money. He basically gave up the fight. So Donald Trump pops in, and what do we hear from Trump? He says, no open borders. We're going to keep our factories. We're going to fight for the working class. No new wars. Your brother lied to us. And I said, well, here's my view of Hillary and Trump. I said, Hillary Clinton's a warmongering lunatic who wants to go to war with Russia, threatening to put a no-fly zone over Syria, which would be a declaration of war with Russia because they have a naval base in Tartus. Holy crap, she just said the quiet part out loud. Donald Trump is a reality TV real estate mogul who is a bloviating blowhard that I don't believe for 2 seconds. So I ain't voting for either of them. And I didn't. And Trump ended up winning. And I laughed. I laughed because it was so funny to watch the uniparty get crushed. Hilarious. And then something happened. Donald Trump certainly did things I disagreed with, certainly said things I disagreed with, but the media wouldn't stop lying about him. And I kept saying, guys, stop making me defend Donald Trump. I don't need to. I didn't vote for the guy. And then in 2020, I said, I'm voting for the guy. You know why? Because he set a deadline for the withdrawal out of Afghanistan, a smart move. I appreciated it. He said, none of this DEI garbage and government contracting. And I said, unfortunately for us, unfortunately for the Democrats, Tulsi Gabbard and Andrew Yang, who I supported and donated the maximum to, because I wanted the Democrats to win and for Trump to lose, the Democratic Party had no interest whatsoever in getting rid of the crackpot partisan politics, identity politics. They didn't want to end the wars. And I said, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. Trump, he's actually going to end the wars. He set a deadline for it. They criticized him for it. He's far from perfect. But all I can say is this. I want the marginal gain, and I'll take it. Well, Trump didn't win, and I didn't claim the election was stolen from him. Joe Biden won because COVID happened, and there's a lot of factors at play. Ballot harvesting played a big role. Well, 2024 comes around, and Joe Biden is incapable of standing up. And Kamala Harris may be dumber than a box of rocks. See, I say that with respect to the box of rocks. And Donald Trump certainly just made so much more sense. And now what we are seeing from Trump is a pushback on Biden-era policies that were destructive to this country. Now, Gavin Newsom says the Democrats, maybe, but unfortunately for us, once again, it's a clown car of crackpottery.
This morning, California Governor Gavin Newsom is pushing back after critics seized on comments he made at an Atlanta event accusing him of racism. Listen to this.
Yeah, that too.
I'm like you. I'm no better than you. You know, I'm a 960 SAT guy.
Newsom calls it all fake outrage.
Oh, please.
This is, we're getting a sense, President Trump is 1 year in to his final term, but still it's never too early to talk about the next presidential election. With us now is CNN chief data analyst Harry Etten. So we see Governor Newsom. He's got a book, I think, which actually publishes today. He's in the middle of the fray of possible Democratic contenders. So what do the polls say?
Yeah, they're all running, and this is just a downright clown car at this point on the Democratic side. I mean, just take a look here. Top choices for the 2028 Dem-Pres nominee. You have a leader, but it's not really a clear leader. It's within the margin of error. You have Newsom at 19%. Then you have former Vice President Kamala Harris at 18%. Quite a weak number for her, given that, of course, she was the nominee last time around. Pete Buttigieg, who, of course, has run before, 13%. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez at 12%. This is just a total clown car. It is a total mess. There is no clear front runner at this particular point on the Democratic side. Who the heck knows who the nominee is going to be in 2 years?
It's been a long time since we've had a Democratic race.
I certainly hope it's AOC, and I genuinely mean that. AOC, I believe, is running knowing she can't win, or at least she's entertaining it. She's playing these games. She's going to the Munich security conference. I think her strategy is going to be, I'll run and lose, but it'll boost my profile. Maybe she'll run for the Senate. I think the better move for her is to win a Senate seat in New York, wait a few years, and then try, because you don't want to take a shot for the throne and miss. It's hard to come back from that. Though, hey, look at Joe Biden. At first you don't succeed, try again. Eventually you get it. Well, I take a look at this, and I think if AOC runs, she can't win. I think that she has a good probability to win, better than probably anybody else. Newsom likely is going to be the nominee, but he is just so, AOC actually could win the presidency. I just don't think she's going to do well against a J.D. Vance or, we'll see. Like Rubio may run. And surprisingly, Rubio is taken, he's pushing for first, to be completely honest. One of the things about Marco Rubio, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan in the world, but I can support his decorum at the bare minimum. One of the things about Rubio that's working out really well for him is he's not a culture warrior. So Democrats have a hard time latching onto attacks against him. They do, don't get me wrong, and they will. The point is, with J.D. Vance, when he throws shade or pushes a culture war thing, they'll insult him, call him far right, and say, see, he is your enemy. Rubio doesn't really do a lot of this stuff. So when he comes to hearings, it's kind of just vanilla pudding. Hard to criticize a guy whose response to being insulted is, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'll do better next time. Thank you for the comment. Whereas J.D. Vance would push back. Now, I'm a Vance guy. I like J.D. Vance. I'm looking forward to seeing what he has to offer for 2028. Of course, Democrats are still screaming that Donald Trump is going to run for a third term. Indeed. It's all silly, my friends. But with the State of the Union only hours away for those that have tuned in when this video launched, I say, my friends, oh boy, stay tuned. It's going to get interesting. Smash that like button. Share the show with everyone you know. Thank you so much for hanging out. You can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. Of course, we are back live at 8 p.m. for the State of the Union address and the Democrats pre-show. It's going to be fun. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all then.